Hey there, Sean Terry here from Flip2Freedom.com, home of the #1 rated real estate investing podcast in iTunes. And I am back with another episode of Flip2Freedom Q&A Corner, where I answer your burning questions about wholesaling houses in today's market. Now, this question is from D. Wells. What's up, bud? How's it going? It says, hey, Sean, how do you market a property if you don't have a buyer's list? The reason I ask is I see in a lot of forums that people are getting started brand new or new to other markets and post their deals on Craigslist, and that a deal will get seen by the seller, and the seller will get very mad when they see the property marketed for a higher price on Craigslist, Backpage, Postlet, Zillow, etc., yada yada. They will also see their property being advertised if you use bandit signs around the property. How can you market it if you told the seller that you're the buyer, but will get caught using a traditional channels for marketing? Thanks. Now, great question. And, you know, if you've been wholesaling houses for a while, you've probably run into this particular issue. So he's got two different issues here. Number one is, you know, how do you market a property without a buyer's list, right? That's the first thing we're going to be talking about. And the second thing is how to position it with the seller, you know, going in and when you're negotiating with the seller and you're getting the contract signed. See, you know, if you positioned it correctly from that point when you sat down with the seller and disclosed to them what you're doing in a way, then you wouldn't have this issue at all, and it could be handled very, very easily. So those are the two things we're going to talk about: how to position yourself, you know, with the seller, and also how to build a buyer's list. Some pretty too extensive things. So let's first talk about positioning, because that's what we're going to do on the front end prior to getting the contract. Now, when we sit down and meet with a seller, we want to be straight up. We want to shoot from the hip and not dance around the subject. So what I say, and it's even listed directly in my contracts, right? Yeah, here we go. I got a contract today on a property and that came in, and I'll tell you exactly what it says in our other agreements right here. If you can see it, well, you can't see it, but I'll read it to you. Basically, here it says. Agreement is subject to valuation of buyer. That's an out clause. We have to evaluate, you know, do a valuation on the property. My company and Sean Terry is agreeing to purchase this property to rent, lease, assign, or sell for a profit. Okay, that's what it says right off the bat, and they initial buy this. It says, it is further understood that the buyer is not intending to occupy the property as a resident. Seller fully understands the buyer, right, and or its representatives, would be Stan, my acquisition manager, are not earning any fee or commission from the seller. The seller should not expect any representation from the buyer or buyer's representative, and all legal and financial questions should be answered by seller's broker or legal advisor. Okay, it says it right in my contract when I am talking to the seller. So when I'm sitting, you know, in either whether it be Stan, my acquisition manager, or myself, when I'm sitting down with the seller, I make it very clear that, listen, I'm an investor. Okay, I am an investor, and we are going to come in, and I don't know what we're going to do with the property. I might hold it as a rental. Okay, I might put $5,000 into it and hold it for a rental. I'm going to rent it and hopefully eventually make a profit. I may fix it and flip it. I may buy it from you, fix it, and then turn around and sell it. So now, from a wholesaling standpoint, no, obviously your intent is to turn around and sell it quickly. But let me ask you a question. You know, what if one of your buyers comes to the property and says, listen, why don't we do a JV deal on it together? I'll front the money for the fix, and you just donate the property at what you're in it for, your basis, and then we'll turn around and split profits, you know, 50-50 down the road. You know, I just recently did that on a property here in Arcadia with actually my hard money lender, a guy that I've known for years, and we went in a partner. I donated the property at a cost of what I was in it for, and he came in and did all the fix and returned around selling it and putting it on the market and doing a split on it. So the bottom line is that you're here for a profit. So when you're talking to the seller, you make it clear that, listen, I don't know if we're going to rent it for a profit. I don't know if we're going to fix it and sell it for a profit, or I don't know if I'm going to sell it quick for a profit. The bottom line is that, Mr. Seller, is that you and I agree on a price. And in this case, the price on this property is $110,000. That's what you're going to get less your tax prorations. What we do with the property on the other side is pretty much irrelevant, but the bottom line is you're going to get your $110,000, and whatever we do on the other side, we're here obviously to make a profit, whether we rent it, whether we fix it, whether we sell it, whether we sell it quickly. I don't know. The bottom line is that you're going to get your $110,000, less tax prorations, and we are here to make a profit on the property. And that is the advantage through selling through us. Okay, so if you sell through a realtor, number one, there is no defined close date. Okay, there is no defined date. You might stick it on the market, it might take you 6 months. And there is no defined price. Okay, you stick it on the market for 120, 130, right? Someone might offer 110, someone might offer 105, someone might offer 100 or 107. There is no defined price because you're kind of putting it out there, and there is no defined date. Now, Mr. Seller, if you want to sell to me, then I'm going to give you a defined price. It's right here in the purchase contract. It's $110,000. And guess what? I'm going to give you a defined date, and that date is November 25th. Okay? So you're going to have those two in concrete, and so whatever we do with it on the back end of it, obviously I'm here to make a profit. So positioning on the front end, shooting from the hip with your seller, and telling them what you do will avoid any type of disputes down the road. So if your seller sees the property on Craigslist and they call you up, what's my property doing on Craigslist? I'm going to say, listen, I told you, we're putting out there to try to establish what the market is for the property. Okay, so that's why we put it, on Craigslist. If we happen to find a buyer for a higher price, we'll turn around and sell it to them. Like I told you, Mr. Seller, from the start, the bottom line is you're getting $110,000, and obviously I'm here for an investment. Guess what? If we can't sell it, oh well, we still got to turn around and either fix it, sell it, close on it, do whatever. That's the bottom line. So you can position yourself on the front end of it, to shoot from the hip with that seller. Now, here's the deal. Make sure you agree on a price that works. Okay? Because what happens is, let's say you're negotiating with a seller, and let's say in this case the contract, and you sign it for 130, but you're really not comfortable at 130. 130, is making you kind of nervous, with the seller that I don't know if this is going to work or not. Well, make sure you sign it for a deal that works. Just don't get the contract just to get the contract. Sign it for a price that makes sense. So then you can negotiate from the standpoint and say, that you're confident that you can get this deal done. So you want to get it at a below market price. Okay. So the next thing is saying is, how do you build a buyer's list? Okay. This is probably one of the biggest questions we get from people. Now, here's the thing. There's two different type of markets. There's a buyer's market, right, where there's lots of inventory out there and a buyer can choose from all this inventory, okay? Or there's a seller market where there's not a lot of inventory out there, but there's a ton of buyers out there. So depending on the market that you're in is going to determine how you market the property, okay? It's going to determine that. Now, in this particular market right now at this day and time, it is a seller's market. Okay, there's not a lot of inventory out there, and there's a ton of buyers. So what happens is seller, in turn, can the guy with the inventory can turn around and very easily sell into a marketplace. So here's the deal: if it's a seller's market. Okay, what you can do is now you can market the properties on Craigslist. Everybody knows you can post a property on Craigslist. You can post a property on, and I'm going to give you a couple different tips here that some probably you've never even heard of before, but some that you have heard of before, like posting on Craigslist and Backpage and and things like that. Most people know that you can post your properties there. Now, the strategic way to do it is you want to build your buyer's list. Okay, I think your biggest asset as a wholesaler is having a very strong buyer's list that you can send an email out to your buyer's list and have a lot of buyers on your buyers list, and then people call you. So your email address is incredibly important. So we want to capture that. So all your advertising is geared toward sending them to a link to a squeeze page or your website. Now, my website is phoenixwholesalehomes.com, phoenixwholesalehomes.com, and they'll drive to that site. We have our properties there, and they have a place where they can opt in, to get, property alerts. Also, I have like Arizona Real Estate Wholesalers.com, and that is a squeeze page. So what I'll do, if I'm posting on Craigslist or Backpage or other different properties, I will send them to Arizona Real Estate Wholesalers, which is a squeeze page where they'll opt in, and then it will direct them to my main website, which they can see their properties on there. So here's the deal. What if you're not tech savvy? What do? Well, they got free sites like Weebly.com, Weebly, W-E-E-B-L-Y, Weebly.com, and you can sign up for a free site. You don't have to have any HTML or code or any of that type of stuff to be able to set up a site like that. And you can set up a simple squeeze page, a simple website, and pull some properties on there. It's all drag and drop. That's a very short-term solution. Eventually, you want to have like a full-blown, like a WordPress-based website to where you can display your properties. So, initially getting started, if you want to start with Weebly and start building some squeeze pages just to build your email list, you can do that too. So the motivation is to get that email, and once you get that email, then you can start marketing properties to this email list. Now, that's one way. One way is through, say, all the free classified ad sites that we all know, Craigslist, Backpage, and then it puts it, like if you go with Postlets, it puts it out on Zillow, puts it Hot Pads, puts it out on all the other different internet sites. Okay. Now, what's another way that you can find buyers? Well, in Google, right? Google makes money by selling ad space to different vendors on a keyword basis. So, what if someone types in Wholesale Properties Denver? Right? You can have your ad display, and they can click on the ad, it can go to a website, and they can enter their email to view your properties. Okay? So that is a way where you can capture email addresses 24/7. So if you have a campaign going, you can build it 24/7 by having people, search a term, wholesale properties, fixer properties, Denver, cheap properties, Denver, cheap properties for sale, Denver. Those are all specific keywords that people type into Google, right? That what can happen is that you can bid on those specific keywords, and then they can hit a landing page. And when they hit a landing page, they can opt into it. And when they opt into it, you capture their email address. Now, I use what's called iContact. iContact is a email capture platform, but also I blast my properties out to my email list through using iContact. Okay, iContact.com. You can go there. What's cool? They have these little cool templates. You can put your properties on there, display your properties on there, and then you can blast them out to your buyers list. And it doesn't matter if your buyers list is 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, 50 people. The bottom line is that if you continue doing this, you're going to have a buyers list that's going to grow. That means a year from now, you're going to have more buyers than you do today. 2 years from now, you're going to have more buyers than you do a year from now. So it's going to continue to grow. Now, as I've built my list over the years, I have like 32,000 buyers on my list that I can press send, and it goes out to all these buyers, right? Then my phone will ring, and they'll say, hey, especially if it's a great deal, sometimes my phone rings in a matter of, minutes, and I can sell a property in minutes from me pressing send. It's an awesome, awesome experience. So having that buyers list is incredibly crucial to you to ensure your success and be able to sell properties quickly. Now, yes, you can put bandit signs out. That will get people calling, and put ads in like a local newspaper. I would direct them to the website as well as squeeze page. Those are other ways to be able to do it. Now, so we talked about, posting ads on Craigslist. We talked about, Google AdWords, which is a great way to be able to get leads. The third way is which nobody really talks about. And this is working with realtors, okay? Realtors are a great source of buyers. Huge, huge. They know contracts. They know the process. They know how the whole thing works. When it comes to contracting, you really don't have to teach and explain much. All they need to know is that the price of the property is net to you. So, for example, let's say I get this contract and I'm going to sell this $110,000. I'm going to sell it for $140,000, right? So $140,000 is net to me. So if I'm going to work with a real estate agent, they would tack on their fee on top of the price. Okay, and it doesn't matter what the fee is, they can add whatever they want. Now, if I get a cheap property, which, I got one on my website, we're selling for like 50 grand. Well, a typical fee, 3% of 50 grand is only $1,500, right? But because it's so below market, it makes sense they could put a $5,000 fee on there. And it would still make sense because it's that far below market. And realtors love working with guys like us because they have the ability to tack on a fee, and it's a lot more than $1,500, and it still makes sense for their buyer, okay? Because they're able to present the property to their buyer. The other thing is this: realtors are great because realtors have buyers. They are building buyers. Excuse me. They're building buyers. I'm too excited. I love this stuff. So anyways, so they're building buyers. So you may have one realtor that might have 10 or 15 or 20 buyers out there looking for properties. And guess what? You can target that one specific realtor that now is going to share it with all their buyers. Now, what if you can target 10 realtors? What if you can target 50 realtors? Well, now guess what? So how do you do this? Well, first off, you want to build a relationship with a good realtor. And you want to do that by saying, because it's going to be a win-win. Say, listen, I'm marketing for a lot of properties. And what happens is some of them are going to sell at a discount because there's a distress situation, circumstantial distress, financial distress, or there's physical distress in the property. I'm looking for that distress. Now, if there is no distress, I have to refer them to somebody because they still call, they still want to sell. So I'm going to refer them to somebody, and I could refer them to you, as a realtor. So the bottom line is that in that particular case, is that you can give that realtor a lot of referrals, and they would be ecstatic to get those listing referrals. Ecstatic, okay? So you say, listen, I can give you referrals, but also, too, I need you to work with me because, I've got this property. It's under contract, and I want to find all the cash buyer realtors around this particular property that have sold the property cash in the last 60 days. So what they can do is he can go in the MLS with your realtor. He can pull your property. He can pull all the closings that have happened in a 2 or 3 mile radius in the past 60 days, and make sure they're cash. They're not FHA financing. They're not conventional finance, but they're cash transactions. So now you're dealing with all the realtors that have sold a property to a cash buyer within that region. Now, typically, if they sold to a cash buyer, that means the investor likes the area. They want to be in the area. It might be a person looking for a rental property. So if you target them, that buyer might want to purchase other properties. So what you do now is you can go in each one, and guess what's in the MLS? It's the agent's telephone number, and it's the agent's email. So you can call these agents and say, hey, listen, I just got a property under contract. I see you sold a property recently cash to a cash buyer in there. I was wondering if any of your buyers would like to purchase another property. Yes or no? Or you could send an email about a flyer about the property as well. That is a great way, an absolute great way to be able to get your properties in front of qualified people very, very quickly, for the intent of building a buyer's list, right, that you can then eventually press send to 300, 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 32,000 buyers and sell properties in a matter of minutes. It's an exciting thing. It's awesome. Now, you're going to continue to grow it. You're going to continue to build it. You just don't let it sit there and die. You're going to continue to cultivate that list. But it's incredibly important. Wholesaling, I can tell you, is the funnest. It's so much fun. It's a blast, because where can you go that you can get a property under contract for $110,000 and turn around and put it on an email blast for $140,000 and turn around and make $20,000 in a matter of 7 days? It's a beautiful thing. Now imagine if you did that over and over and over and over again, you can make an absolute fortune doing this business. And me, I don't even have a college education. That's the beautiful thing about it. I spent 4 years in the United States Marine Corps. I don't have a college education, so it doesn't matter where you've come from. It matters how you put this together and you stay persistent, you stay focused, and you go out and do the things that count. Building your buyer's list is what counts, is having a good buyer's list. All the other stuff will fall into place. So don't get anxiety about, I got to get Google AdWords, I got to get a website, I got to do that. Take one step at a time. One step at a time. Now, my father-in-law always says is, if you have the problem of, if you're going to eat an elephant, where do you start? Well, I start with a leg, right? You know what I mean? Just give me the leg. But what you really said is you take one bite, at a time. That's it. One bite. And then you take one bite. I don't want to eat an elephant. I don't want to eat a frog. But the bottom line is that it makes a good point. Just like if you're going to take a journey, if I was going to go here from Arizona to California and I was going to walk there, it's one step at a time. You just got to get started and do it. So don't get yourself all, overwhelmed by the elephant or the trip, right? Just realize that, what? Let me just start one step at a time and take action every single day. If you took action every single day, right, a year from now, you'll have a big buyer's list. A year from now, you'll be selling properties, so fast you won't even know it, can do it. Because right now we're going into a market that's like this, right, which is exciting. It's a blast, and now's the time to capitalize on it. So, D. Wells, I hope that answered the question for you. Positioning on the front end and consistently building your buyer's list on the back end will turn you into an incredibly successful, incredibly wealthy property wholesaler. So if you want more from me, go to flip2freedom.com, flip2freedom.com. Down below this video, there's a link, and download a book. I wrote a book. It's the Ultimate Real Estate Investing Blueprint, and it teaches you specifically all these steps, all broken down from start to finish. Okay, it's been downloaded over 500,000 times. It's absolutely free. I've had people tell me they spent over $1,000 for the same information for free. So if you're watching this on YouTube or watching this on the site, whatever, make sure you download the book. It'll definitely make a difference. And also I have 100+ different episodes out there teaching each specific about what to say, how to say it, how to negotiate, this, that, the other, yada, yada. Every aspect about wholesaling. So, I put it out there. It's all free. You can listen to it and take advantage of it. And all I ask is that you send me a video of your success story, because you will have success if you follow the principles. So go to flip2freedom.com, download my book, and I hope to see your video coming soon. Take care, and God bless.